as we get older, I don't think that we need more relationships. I think what we really need is we need more healthier relationships. And the same goes for our commitments. We watch media that consumes us. We get involved in conversations that we allow into our lives that no longer serve us. And when we were much younger, our focus and our energy and our attention was scattered. It went everywhere. And it's because at that time we were learning who we were. And we were learning then to make friends. We were learning to find our tribe. And we were learning how to be a friend. But now at 60, I'm not trying to collect more relationships. Instead, I'm trying to protect the ones that really matter to me now. So today I want to share 6 boundaries that have helped me begin my own life audit. Boundary number 1, the time boundary. I know this sounds obvious, right? But it's a lot more deeper than you think. Who out there assumes your time belongs to them? Who expects an immediate reply? Who calls without asking, hey, is right now a good time? Who out there calls you and says, hey, I need you to do me a quick favor? And suddenly 3 hours literally disappear. And I'm not talking about emergencies. I'm talking about seeing patterns of behavior that you want to make mental notes for. For years, I let things like this happen to me. And one of the reasons why I allow this stuff to happen is simply because we want to be helpful. We want to be reliable and available. All of us feel this way. And I wanted people to know that they can count on me. But here's what I've learned. Every time you say yes, you're saying no to something else. Maybe you're saying no to your health. I did that when I would go out with my drinking buddies. You might be saying no to your dreams or to your creativity or simply your peace. And at this stage of life, those things matter more than ever. Boundary number 2 is emotional boundary. Have you ever noticed that there are people in your life who may leave you feeling much lighter and happier, and yet there are others who leave you absolutely completely drained? Every conversation with them is a complaint. Every phone call is yet another crisis. Every visit spent with them makes you feel emotionally heavy. Honestly, I spent years carrying everybody else's emotions while quietly ignoring my own. That's, all in all, that's not healthy. Healthy relationships, let me just say this, healthy relationships aren't perfect, but they should leave room for both people to feel heard. And if somebody only reaches out when they need something, you need to pay attention, because when you are aware of what is going on, you are now able to start implementing and setting boundaries through your awareness. Boundary number 3 is the obligation boundary. This one has been one of the hardest for me. How many things do we keep doing simply because we've always done them? Example, like hosting holiday parties or doing the holiday dinner, or going to events over and over again, helping when you're literally already exhausted, and saying yes to it anyway. And you do all this because you don't want to disappoint anybody. Somewhere along the way, obligations started masquerading as kindness. But they're not always the same thing. Sometimes kindness looks like saying, I'm sorry, unfortunately, I can't do it at this time. And both can be loving. One thing I've learned is guilt is a terrible way to make decisions. And maybe now it's time to stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. Boundary number 4 is the consumption boundary. This one really surprised me. We usually think boundaries are about people, but what about the things consuming our attention? Now, for me, it was TikTok. I don't think TikTok is bad. And TikTok is actually where I started my content creation journey. It's where all it began. But during my audit, I realized I was spending hours creating TikTok shop videos, chasing trends, trying to grow, always trying new things to get that dopamine hit, all while neglecting the real reason why I became a creator in the first place, to be a storyteller. I wanted to do long form videos. And literally, I kept saying to myself, you know what? I just simply don't have the time. Our time was being spent creating all these short form videos, and I was losing all this precious time and years starting to create long form content. The truth is, I was giving my time away. So I made a hard stop. I said, no more TikTok shop, no more Amazon influencer videos, no more chasing trends. No, instead, I'm going to pour my energy into creating meaningful long form content. That one decision gave me hours of my life back every single week. Boundary number 5 is the noise boundary. The older I get, the more I appreciate quiet. It's not because life is boring, but because you know what? For me, quiet brings clarity. There's so much noise competing for our attention. We get notifications, we get breaking news on our phones. We take the time to watch videos of people arguing, sharing their opinions, people telling us, that we're behind or how we should think, what we should do. And sometimes the healthiest thing we can do is just turn it all off. Go outside, sit out in the yard, maybe take a walk. Maybe instead of listening to the little birdies that are singing on the internet, maybe it's time we start listening to the real birds. The ones that sit on the power lines, not the ones speaking in the headlight. Birds, the animals, they don't give a damn what's trending. They don't care about politics. They only care about peace and order. It's what makes them thrive. And it should be the same for us. And I've discovered that peace rarely ever announces itself. Honestly, it usually just arrives. And honestly, I'm okay not knowing everything happening at the White House. I'd rather know what's happening and take care of what's going on in my house. The reciprocity boundary. This one isn't about keeping score. Life isn't a ledger. Sometimes one person does give more than the other. And sometimes it's needed. It's done out of an act of love. However, over time, healthy relationships have rhythm. There has to be a give and a take. And you need to ask yourself, who's checking in on me? Who's the person who celebrates my wins? Who asks how I'm doing? Who is the person who remembers me? Who remembers and cares the fact that I'm carrying things too? Relationships don't always have to be perfectly equal, but they should feel mutually nourishing over time. If you've always the one reaching out, always the one who's helping, always the one who's listening, I want you to know this. It's okay to pause and it's okay to ask why. Why are you doing this? And it's okay to set boundaries. And now I want to share with you the hardest audit of all. Audit yourself. Sometimes we are so busy evaluating other people and other people's behavior, we never examine our own. Where am I giving away my time? Where am I breaking promises to myself? Where am I saying yes when my heart is screaming no? Where am I choosing distraction instead of purpose? Because sometimes the person with the weakest boundaries isn't everybody else. It's actually us. So as I've entered my 60s, I don't feel like life is getting smaller. I actually think it's becoming clearer. I'm becoming more selective. I'm becoming more intentional. And it's not because I love people less. No. It's not because of that. It's because I value my remaining time more. Many of us don't know how many years we have left. None of us do. But I do know this. I want those years filled with conversations that matter. I want it filled with work that matters, that I enjoy. I want to have relationships that matter. Moments in time, moments in life that matter. Because for every yes that we put out there, it costs us something. And quite honestly, every no protects something. So maybe this week, do your own friend, family, and life audit. Don't do it to judge anybody. Don't do it to make dramatic announcements. Just become aware. Ask yourself, who out there gives you life and who drains it? Who deserves more of your attention? And what quietly deserves less? I'd love to hear from you. And if you could add just one more boundary to this audit, that would be fantastic. Leave it in the comments. I have a feeling we're all going to learn something very special from each other. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for spending a little bit of your non-renewable time with me today. And I'll see you in the next video.